everybody. I wanted to do a video today on working with conflict because we are in a time, well, conflict has of course always been prevalent, but I feel like right now we're in a time of deep conflict, like between each other on a personal level, not like world conflict, which it is a symptom of that. But I've done I took a Fresno State course. Fresno State, I always make fun of people who go to Fresno State and think that they're smarter than MIT graduates. But I took a small course at Fresno State through the college when I worked for the college. And what we learned about was conflict resolution, conflict management, the art of conflict and how to manage it. And what we found, and I have used this in so many different instances where I've had like a conflict where someone's been upset or I've been upset or both parties have been upset. And I said, let's go back to this formula and find out where in this formula something got wrong. Because I don't have ill will towards you. You don't have ill will towards me. Let's back it up. So it's a really simple diagram. It goes like this. And I forget the professor's name who did this, so I'm very sorry. But he has written some books about conflict and stuff like that. So every conflict begins with the same thing. An injustice. So you have an injustice, something does something to you. You get offended or you get hurt, all these emotions ensue because you've been done an injustice in your eyes. And then the next piece that comes in is confusion. And the confusion sets in when you think, what did I do to deserve this? Are they mad at me? Am I a bad person? Are they a bad person? You know, maybe we shouldn't talk. There's a lot of confusion that sets in after the actual injustice and offense has taken place. So this confusion really is kind of like a mess of chaos. And then as soon as you hit the confusion, usually nobody stops at the confusion. They just go straight into the next step, which is blame. So when you've got the injustice and then you've had the subsequent confusion, then you come to the blame. And once you get to the blame, you know, you say, well, I blame this person because they did this, or I blame myself, or I blame, this or that. And you're looking for all these external things to blame. And that's normal. And then once you have the blame portion of the conflict cycle, then you've got your full-blown conflict. So, and once you get to this blame stage, once you start blaming, it's almost impossible to go back to the confusion state. And so the trick to solving conflicts, if you want to eat conflict flakes for breakfast, that's what we used to say, is to stay confused. Honestly, it's just to stay confused. And as long as you're confused, you can't draw a conclusion of blame because you're confused. And you need to go back to the confusion to figure out what happened with the injustice. So you reverse the cycle. You have to go back up to the injustice and find out, was there a miscommunication? Was there a misunderstanding? Usually there is a miscommunication or a misunderstanding that has caused the confusion, which has caused you to then, deal with your external or internalize your confusion and blame. So I found this to be one of the most effective tools of conflict resolution. It's so simple, but it was funny because I worked at the college at this time. We would go to each other's office, like when something wasn't right, like, so I'm confused because I asked for this particular day off, but I didn't get it. Like we were doing that for like at least a week afterwards because it was funny. But truly, the real issue with it is the confusion. You stay confused. I know that like a lot of religious people will come on here and say, God is not the author of confusion. Just back off, please, because this is not for you. So if you are reading the Bible and running your whole life by that Bible, you are very confused because very many people wrote that book, and a lot of conflicting deities have their say in that book, and so that's why you have such soul conflict because you've got so many different deities talking in that book. Like you've got like Semiramis, and Queen Semiramis is supposed to be like not good, right? And in Christian secular mindsets, but then you've got the Book of Proverbs, one of the most amazing books in the Bible, written by Queen Semiramis. So that's what I wanted to go into, is just the confusion, staying confused. And when you get to the confusion, you go back and you say, well, hey, and you got to find what the miscommunication was. Sometimes it's just a word or a time, or just like, oh, I thought you said, okay, sorry. Sometimes it's your misunderstanding and then the person reacting off of each other, and then conflict. And the conflict and the confusion is also working, you know, with chaos, obviously. And so if you wanted to defeat that and put it back into order, like I said, go back to the injustice. So I hope that helps people dealing with conflict. I know that right now in my own life, I'm having to talk to a lot of, not on the internet, I mean like real people face to face, not that you're not real, but I don't know who's real and who's not real when I'm talking to people on the internet. I kind of just do like talk to people if they're not real, even if they were real, but and keep it short. If I don't think that they're a real person, I'll offer like my phone number or something and they don't call. But you know, so you just kind of have to deal with, because you're dealing with a lot of people that have a lot of heavy mind control, heavy programming. I mean, if you don't think that mind control is insanely effective, then don't ever forget that millions of people voted Hitler into office. And you can go on the internet and read some of his propaganda booklets. They are so convincing. When I read them, I went, wow, this guy knew exactly what he was saying. He knew exactly how to tug on the human condition. So, I thought that was an effective tool. I hope that you can use it as well. Of course, it's only going to work if you can get to the bottom of a conflict with somebody. I had an ex-husband who was so freaking stupid that every time there was a big fight, I would use this process and like back it up. And usually there was some sort of misunderstanding and there really was no problem. But this person was just, you know, not intelligent, not, I don't know how to put it, like not analytical, and so he was just a reactive, and he still is like that to this day. And so it was a MK Ultra person. So that's it. I hope you learned something. If you have any other conflict resolution tactics, feel free to share them.